Gals and non-binary pals, welcome back to Art by Flan. Today we are doing something a little bit different. As you can see here, I have a collection of images, and this collection of images is from the year 2004 to 2005. So the thing with my sketchbook tours is they can only go back so far. I don't have any sketchbooks from this year, but what I do have is access to DeviantArt, where I never deleted a single deviation as long as I was there. I literally just moved it to storage. So here we have the collection of images that I took from 2004 and 2005 and had posted for actual people to actually see on DeviantArt. So let's get started and see into the mind of 13 to 15-year-old Danny. Oh, we're off to a stunning start. This is the first picture I ever posted on DeviantArt. If you've seen the video of my character Jaku, this was one of her many forms in my youth. It was a goddess based on Anubis, apparently, with bright yellow hair and semi-Egyptian clothing that I got from a how to draw manga girls around the world or something book. First of all, what is this face? First of all, what are these colors? They are too dark on this monitor to see anything. I think this is supposed to be a black splotch of hair, and this is her skin. This arm is way too long, even for a dog furry anthro creature, so got that going for me. And this was around a time where I would ink everything in dip pen, and then I would take it to my mom's work, scan it there, make it, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, make it editable in Paint. Let's go for that. There's a term for it, but I don't know what it is. And then I would just fill bucket tool, color everything. So great start on the digital art life there. Here was the second picture I ever posted to DeviantArt. This was supposed to be a quote-unquote self-portrait. That my 13 to 15-year-old life was pretty chaotic in terms my parents were going through a divorce, and it was just an overall nasty time to be alive for me, and you'll definitely see more of that in future art. But key points to figure out. I figured out how to do screen toning in Photoshop, which is what I've done here, before I figured out how to do line art in Photoshop. So I learned the steps, just probably not the same order everybody else did. Again, inked in dip pen. I don't know, like, here is, like, everybody goes to this phase, especially if you're an anime artist, where the eyes are half the size of the head, there might not be a nose, and the mouth is like these three disjointed lines here, so, yeah. Also, her legs are distinctly on the left side of her body. Well, I guess it's her right side, but our left, whatever. I remember this being a problem, when I posted the picture. I noticed it, but I just didn't know how to fix it at the time. So this is what went up online. Oh, this is lovely. So this is an actual sketch from me, from my sketchbook. And it was scanned, like I said, at my mom's place of work, and it was like contrasted to hell to make the lines darker, and that of course ruins the quality. I know that now. But these are my friends at the time, and me, who has a popsicle in my mouth. Maybe that was supposed to be, I know there's a time we went through the sea salt ice cream phase, but I think this was before that. So I'm not sure what that is. Just a popsicle, a fudgesicle. I vaguely remember having a fudgesicle thing going on. So here are all of my friends and signs that represent them. Bonnie here, her shirt says stupid and is pointing to my friend Andy. Her sign also says her uncle died of leprosy. I remember that joke, but I don't remember the context of it. My friend Andy really loves Sesshomaru, so I drew her with a plushie. My friend Brooke really liked Vash the Stampede from Trigun, so her sign says Vash loves me and donuts. And my friend Rosa, who wasn't really into the whole anime scene, she gets a sign that says I'm the only normal friend, but she's not really. So moving on, here's another one, again, done in dip pen and scanned into Paint, where it was subsequently destroyed so I could color it. Here's a little look into the mind of 13-year-old Danny. I was 13, I was a Libra. My favorite food was tacos. I still love tacos. my hobby, which is, I guess, supposed to be hobby. If you can even read this, the stars in the background are ridiculously distracting. Hobby, H-O-B-B-I-E, I think there's supposed to be an S there, is drawing, and my favorite season is fall. My dislikes, however, are key. Preps and my left arm. I think this was done at a time where I had broken my left arm and I hated it. I hated being in a cast, and apparently I didn't like preps because that was a thing emo kids didn't like when you were 13. I remember this picture. It's, if you can read that, it's Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh!, who I had the biggest crush on in my preteen years. I was so proud of this picture. It was on like the front of my school binder forever. I even had a nightmare that this picture got ruined in like a flood or something. That's how much I was so proud of this picture. And I'm pretty sure I referenced it from like some scene from Princess Ai, if you remember that manga at all. And so, yeah, I was so super proud of this. And now looking at it, I was like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. What are even the folds on this hoodie? This doesn't make any sense. So my brother is a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was one of the first video games he and I ever played together, ever bonded over, and it was probably the first video game I ever played. And so one year for Christmas, I drew him as Sonic the Hedgehog. So we have his goatee. I don't remember if he had a piercing. Maybe he did. I can't recall. I might have added that in there for show. But he did play guitar, and he liked Sublime, so I put that on his hoodie. And as you can see, my grasp of anatomy was stunning with these poker straight pants and these big, huge feet. Stunning. Stunning work, Danny. Stunning work. Oh, I remember this one. Sorry I keep taking a drink, but I'm just really thirsty. So this one was for my friend Cody, who we were going to have a New Year's party, but his appendix ruptured and he had to go to the hospital. So he didn't get to come to our fancy New Year's party to ring out the end of the year 2004. And trust me, because I was 14 at the time at this point, it was wild and crazy time, y'all. But I drew him this picture, and he and I had a series of characters named Cornelia and Cornelius, and they were the god and goddess of corn. So I drew Cornelia here as a nurse, as a get well soon thing. First of all, really proud of that hand. Still proud of that hand. That is a good hand, okay? I'm gonna remember that hand. Not this one over here. But what's key about this picture is, besides the typical bad anatomy, huge feet thing I had going on, is the media in which I used to color it. So this was, I kid you not, inked in Sharpie marker, shaded in gel pen, and the base colors were done in colored pencil. This is a disaster. Here's a tip on how not to use your media, folks. You could use those three things together, just don't do it in the same way that I did. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, so this is an example of how I did full digital pieces. This was done in pencil in my sketchbook. Also, keynote here, and you're gonna see this a lot, is that I made legs excruciatingly long so that I would not have to draw feet. Key tip, if you ever want to be bad at art, just put them lower on the page if you got to. But I would scan it, and I knew how to use Photoshop, but not to color art. I didn't know anything about the pen tool or anything but the brush tool, and I only had a mouse at the time, so I basically depended on paint and its line tool that I could alter and adjust to do my line art and coloring and shading. So most of my pieces from this time were done like that. So he had this piece, all the lines are done in, like, all the lines and colors and stuff are done in paint, and it is, you know, it's not bad, it's not great, there's no line width or variation, but damn it, I did the best I could at the time. These, I think, were our characters from Full Metal Alchemist, but we just all edited the outfit to have mini skirts because that was a thing we did, apparently. Also, I love the side face here. The mouth does not connect to the lips at all. That's not how mouths work. Maybe in anime, but not in real life. And also, this was all pre-guideline stuff. I didn't use guidelines for any of this, so it was all just shot in the dark if anatomy was correct. This one, I know I do one later that I gave to, like, my teachers, but this was just some random fairy. Her torso seems to be split completely in the middle, with one facing one way and another facing the other way. I know what I was going for here, but it is incorrect. I drew feet. They are typical pointy Barbie feet, but they're feet nonetheless. The scan ruined it. This was done in colored pencil. So I've been working in colored pencil a long time, I guess. Longer than I remembered. Inked in probably Sharpie. I don't know when microns kicked in, but I'm pretty confident this was like fine tip Sharpie or something. Don't ink your pictures in Sharpie, folks. Please don't do that. It's not archival quality that I can remember. But anyway, yes. So here we have this lovely elf girl, and you know what I'm really proud of myself of? There are 2 eyes on this picture. That is something that does not hold up into the future. I'm letting you know. If you've seen my other sketchbook tours, you know that. But there are 2 eyes on this picture. So yeah, this is just like a fairy piece. None of these wrinkles make sense. Like I said, I had no grasp of anatomy. Moving on. Oh, this is edgy. So I mentioned briefly a few minutes ago of the character of Cornelia and Cornelius. Well, I was 14, 15 by this time, so everything was getting dark and edgy, and we're all shifting slowly into our goth phase. So here's my character Cornelia at this point in time. And as you can see, again, massively baggy pants. We all went through a phase where we had trip pants, which, you know, despite being an absolute disaster, they are comfortable. Like, the pair I had was so comfortable. Cumbersome, but comfortable. You'd not think so with all the chains, but you would be wrong. Anyway, so this is my character Cornelia and her boyfriend Vulcan, and I have had this idea for an Olympian-based story for a long, long time, and it's never really fully panned out into anything, but this one's apparently Neo-Olympus, because Neo was a thing you attached to things that were new, and you were an anime geek like I was. So yeah, we've got this lovely array of matching couples outfits, and again, why is his mouth not attached to the side of his face? Where's the rest of his head? Where's her other eye? I don't know. Mysteries abound. Okay, so another more example of me doing work in paint. This is my character Kisa, and she was the daughter of an OC I had for Yu-Gi-Oh! And Seto Kaiba. Like I said, he was a big part of my childhood crushes. So yeah, this is their daughter, apparently. 2 eyeballs, again. When did I stop drawing the other eyeball? Couldn't tell you. Oh, you know what? This one's not bad. Not great. It's still on lined paper, but it's not bad. I'm not unhappy with this one. I am unhappy with this one. This one was even entered into the local fair. I kid you not. I entered this monstrosity into my local fair, and I'm pretty sure I won something for it. Okay, key points here. Why are her legs 800 miles long? This is not how legs work. Why do her feet look like potatoes? And why are her hands bigger than her face? This was my style, quote unquote, at the time. And also, her wings just look like fancy hair. You couldn't fly on those. There is no anatomy to those whatsoever. And also, I want you guys to know that every single futuristic, otherworldly background I had looked like Crystal Tokyo from Sailor Moon. Just saying. Oh, here we go. We got some angst for you guys. So, first of all, these words are from a spoken word part of a Silent Hill song, because it was edgy to like Silent Hill at the time. Also, that soundtrack's really good. This is again my character Jaku in her dog jackal form, or whatever I called this. I'm pretty sure this was again done in Sharpie. Again, please don't color your art in Sharpie if you can help it. It leads through everything for me. And for me at least. I don't know if it does for you guys, but it did for me. So yeah, we have this really dark, edgy... I don't even know the story behind this. Is there one? I don't know. It's too long ago. I wiped it from my memory. Again, Jaku. I drew her a lot. And here we have her in this lined paper hell with one phoenix wing and one robot wing, I think. I vaguely remember drawing this in like one of my classes, and I was so proud of it. Oh, yep, that other eye is disappearing again. Here's where it starts, folks. I had something good going and I destroyed it. I remember this one got taken down from DeviantArt. I don't know why. Also, really loved the brushes on everything. But yeah, I remember this one got taken down from DeviantArt, and I put it back up, and it was never complained about again. I'm not sure what's up with that. I just remembered that tidbit. But yeah, I would, again, I think this one was done in Sharpie? Maybe? This might be Micron. I genuinely don't remember when I first got my Microns, so But yeah, this is, again, done in ink, scanned, destroyed so I could color it in paint, and then wreck it even further in Photoshop with this massive amount of brushes. Brushes were like the coolest thing to me. Oh, so this whole background's black, so nothing's wrong with it. This was fan art for the movie Rose Red, based on Stephen King's book. My friend and I love that movie, and we love the silly prequel too, and we were really into it, so I drew fan art of the house, who was apparently a blue-eyed, dark-haired woman with a red rose. Look at these hands! Her hands are bigger than her face, and she doesn't have thumbs! I think there's shading on this. I can't tell. It's literally too light on this monitor. Oh, and this down here used to be my signature, quote unquote, one I would put on all my pieces, my watermark, before I knew what a watermark was. Okay, so this character, as you can see, I vaguely remember this character. He was named after Fibonacci of the Fibonacci sequence fame. And he was like a mental, in a mental institution for some reason. Because that was super edgy at the time, and I was very heavily inspired by people who were inspired. Like this is tiers of separation here. I didn't really watch any of Jonan Vasquez's stuff besides Invader Zim, but I followed a lot of artists who were really into his style. And so I ended up picking up things from that and applying it to mine, even though I wasn't a huge fan of his work. So you have the really angular hair and eyes that sort of transpose themselves into my things. And again, we have these legs that are far too long, just so I didn't have to draw them on the page. And these pant things that make no sense. Oh, this was fan art for a friend's birthday. I think this was his name, Dark from D and Angel. I think that was his name. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know where the other half of his torso is. I think his hands are supposed to be in front of his body, and like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I do know it was done in Sharpie. You could tell, but I don't know why his face is puckered like that. And where is his body, Danny from 2005? Where is his body? It's not there. I'm looking at it, and it ain't there. This was a good example of my style at the time. Well, I'm sorry, this was pushing the limits. I was experimenting with my style at the time. I remember this particular piece was called Joy is a Mindless Pleasure, because that was deep. And again, I've always done, if it's shaded in pencil, it's deep for me. And I think that even carries over into today, but whatever. So this was just a dude who was smoking because edgy, and has this little thing that says joy, and somehow that is a mind. I don't know. I'm not gonna try and unravel the deep edginess of 14-year-old Danny. I also like how down here I had to let people know that this was not me. This is not me, guys, just so you know. So this was that fairy chick from earlier, and this was the piece I gave to my like 8th grade teachers when I was graduating, because 7th grade year was a really hard time for me, and I did not have a good rapport with my teachers. But 8th grade was a stellar time for me, and I had a great rapport with my teachers, and they loved me and I loved them, and I wanted to give them something back. So I drew this fairy that I drew like the year before, and I put on it, knowledge is magic, thanks for teaching me the craft. So yeah, I just drew this little fairy that I gave to them. This was in May, so I was 14 at the time. So yeah, there's that. So this was inspired by The Killers. This is about the time I had discovered them. So I've been a fan of The Killers for a long, long time. This was Andy, You're a Star, I think. First of all, why is she a Cyclops? I think she's supposed to have 2 eyes and one of them's supposed to be covered, but it just looked like she has 1 eyeball, mutant limbs, and a knife. I would be horrified if this came down me at the street. I'm not gonna even lie to y'all. I would be terrified. So this one is, I distinctly remember this one being freshman year of high school. We're doing something on like a poem or something, and we had to draw like the story of our life, the duality of our lives, or something. I can't remember. So this was what I drew. And so you have the good things in life. I don't know what that is. Like that's a tree. That's a person. I think these were supposed to be my friends. I think Corpse Bride came out that year. I had this like Chinese writing of my name on my wall, and then we have this angel. And then on like the devil's side, we have like stuff from my parents' divorce. I think somebody died. I think that's my brother during a visit to a mental institution. Like he had like a breakdown. That sounds really offensive to my brother, but yes, he did have a breakdown like my freshman year, and then spent some time in the hospital because of it. I don't know what this is. I know this is supposed to be me, and this was my Boston Terrier. So this is, I kind of like this piece, to be honest. I don't like it from a technical point, but I like what I was trying to go for here. So this was another iteration of Jaku. Like I said, she's had a lot of them, and this is one of her Sailor Senshi uniforms here. It got real dark and edgy, and I was obsessed with phoenixes for a while, so that's sort of what you're seeing here. All the background is like really like brushes from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and this whole picture is sort of stretched and skewed about. So, I mean, it's not great. Again, with the long limbs, big feet sort of fiasco I had going on here. I'm glad I sort of broke myself of that. So this was, I think, my very first Kingdom Hearts character. We went through this phase for a while where we all had this Kingdom Hearts OCs, and they were like in this band or whatever, and I don't remember any of the other details about it, but this was mine, I think. Again, colored in paint. I do like how I did her hair. It wasn't awful, not great, but not awful for the time. None of these wrinkles make sense, and this pose is, you know, that's a problem I still have. Long torsos. Oh, look, here's some Corpse Bride fan art. I was really proud of this. I still don't think it's too bad. It could be better, but it's not too awful. So, Danny Phantom fan art. I went through this, I call it a phase, but I'm still a big fan of Danny Phantom and of the show. So, there was a period, I think, in my freshman year of high school where I drew a bunch of Danny Phantom and had a bunch of fan characters, and it was really fun. It was really fun to be part of that online community. Which, by the way, I get really confused when people say fandom, P-H-A-N-D-O-M, because that was the term we used for the Danny Phantom fandom, but now it's applied to a couple of YouTubers, and I get really confused because I see it's like, oh wow, people still like Danny Phantom, and then it's for them. I'm like, this is not what I wanted at all. Here again we have more examples of this long limbs and feet that just, legs that just go on until they go off the page, so I don't have to draw them. This is not a character or anything. But she has lost an amount of hair, and here we start to see the eye slip away from my grasp. Also, look at these hands! Like, gosh! Jeez! Oh, here's a nice... I remember being sort of proud of this one. A lot of this was done on lined paper because I couldn't pull my sketchbook out in the middle of class to draw, so I would just draw on lined paper. Again, with these wings that just look like hair that aren't really good for anything, so maybe that's why she's sad and she's hoping her wings will become something better drawn. Also, where's the rest of her head? Again, I didn't use guidelines at this point in time, so where's the rest of her head? It's not there. I don't know where it's at. I remember this character. His last name was literally just Gay Boy. Spelled G-E-I-B-O-O-I, because that's not offensive in the least. And he was the first quote-unquote gay character I had, when that was something edgy to have, apparently. So yeah, he was like the first gay character I had, and it was super popular with my friends. Like, oh, Danny, you're so progressive making a gay character. And it's like, yeah, I know, it's pretty great. And it's like, it's not great. I was 14 in a world where, you know, before all these amazing progressives have had for gay people. But yeah. Also, he just doesn't straight up have another eye. Like, he does. The character's supposed to, but in this picture, it's just like, nah, I'm not doing that. Edward Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist. I had a thing for him for a while, too. So there's plenty of art of him lurking around old sketchbooks. And again, hands bigger than the waist. Bigger than the torso. Hands were bigger than the torso. Oh, and just here's the same picture in color. So here's where I'm making progress. I met my friend Allison around this time, and she knew how to use Photoshop. She's an amazing artist. I'll put her links in the description to check her stuff out on Instagram. But she taught me basically how to use Photoshop. She gave me the tools I needed, and I ran with it from there. So the lines were still done in Paint, but the colors on this one were done in Photoshop. first, you know, you're not always good right out of the gate, but I was really super duper proud of this. And I remember discovering the dodge and burn tool. And personally, I don't recommend doing that. There are a lot of pieces in the future wherein I do use that a lot, but I don't recommend using that for all of your work. But yeah, this one I think was done just straight up. This might be dodge and burn. I don't know. I know his hair is, but I don't know about the rest. I think so. This was my character Aries. For some reason, I inked his eyes and his mouth and then colored the rest and did nothing else. Again, on lined paper, because like I said, I couldn't pull out my sketchbook and draw in class. This is my character Banira. You've heard me talk about him in pictures with Jaku. This was his human form at the time, and this is gross. Like, what is it? Like, his hair is like is huge. His feet don't exist, and his arms go down to his knees, which, by the way, I think are right here somewhere. And this is another picture of my character Jaku. This one isn't too bad. I know at this point it's all microns, so for inking. So yeah, I mean, like, again, this is where I'm just leaving out the other eye because screw it, why would I have that in there? But yeah, this one was simple and just sort of, I don't have much to say about it. I remember this one, first of all, because she has this huge arm going on here. Like, this looking at it doesn't even look like it's supposed to be part of her body, but there it is, and yes it is. And I remember using this as a reference to commission somebody, like a really popular artist that I liked. And looking back at it now, I really regret that choice. I have that image somewhere, but if I had given her any other reference, I would have. I liked this picture at the time. I was thinking, yeah, this is a good idea. Put her in this outfit. It's gonna look great. And it doesn't look great, guys. It doesn't look great. Okay, there's a story behind this one. We're getting into December now because for a while, every year I drew the quote-unquote real Santa Claus. This was done by an artist I followed, and she wrote a story about what the real Santa looked like. And this was it. He had 4 arms and this cool mask and whatever. And it's a really cute little comic. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know if it's online anymore. But every year, I would draw the real Santa Claus because, I don't know, I was Rage Against the Fat Man, I guess. I don't know. But I really like this design, and I like this character. So I may try and dig up that comic and do art of him again in the future. Okay, so if you saw me do that, you might not have. But anyway, on my Instagram and stuff, I was posting about my character, Eulis, and what she used to look like. And this was the design I had for her originally. So if you've been on my Instagram, you've seen that comparison picture, but she looks nothing like this anymore. This design is a mishmash of a disaster. What is even going on here? What are these markings? I could never replicate them. I tried a lot when I would redraw this character, but I could not replicate them. So here's a tip, folks. If it's a complicated design, don't plan on drawing it more than once. Maybe you're better than me at the time, but my advice is if you're going to draw it a lot, try and make it as replicable as possible. Try to make it as simple as you can while still looking pretty dang cool. This does not look pretty dang cool. Oh, here's some Fairly Odd Parents fan art of Timmy Turner. Don't know why, but that's a thing that I did. Again, why is his arm so long? What are these pants and feet? But there is another eye. I got that going, which is great. Okay, so this one was for a friend's story. He had like this idea for like rainbow fighters who are all based on the colors of the rainbow or whatever, and they all have these weird vague symbols and their names all ended with TU, I think. But this was my character Motu, and she was black. She didn't fit in with the rest of the color warrior characters that he had. And so she was kind of the edgy dark girl of the group, and she was just sort of sad and lonely because, you know, I was about 14, 15 at this time. And I think maybe that's it. Nope, there's a few more. I thought there were a few more. So I remember this character. This isn't even a character. This pose is taken directly from the cover of like Dark Cloud 2 strategy guide, if you ever played that game. If you haven't, it should. The Dark Cloud games are really, really cool. I'd love to see a remake. But anyway, I remember working on this piece and thinking, oh man, I'm gonna ruin it if I ink it anymore. And then I just never touched it again. Like, this was old at the time I posted it, and it's 3 times as old now. Like, look at this disaster. Glad I didn't finish inking it though. And I think this might be the final piece. Yeah, it is. Okay. So this was more of my Full Metal Alchemist fan character. As you can see, she perfectly fits in to that universe. Just grade A, rocking it right there. And this was supposed to be like a study sheet for the character of all these intricate details that you had to remember if you ever drew her. And I didn't finish inking it. And I remember the description, I was like, I didn't finish inking it because I was afraid I'd ruin it. And it's like, honey, it was ruined when you put it on the damn paper. And I think, yep, that's the very last piece. So thank you guys so much for watching this trip down memory lane for me. If you like this, I'll definitely do some more that aren't actual factual sketchbook tours, but are just a look at my old art. If you like what you see, don't forget to click that like button, leave a comment down below, and you can subscribe for a fancy new video from me every single Saturday in your inbox. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.